Now, I'm very pleased to say that we have Justina, who's going to share with us a story from her life, which I am sure will be absolutely riveting. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you so much to Yola for the beautiful song. I have included Lauren Daigle into my religious song list, and I really enjoy her voice. And also I started watching The House of David, and I'm really enjoying it. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. So 1,000 Toes campaign is not about big feet, I hear, and it's true. 1,000 Toes campaign run by Seventh-day Adventist Church is about bringing hope, is about bringing relief to people, and it's about giving hope and saving lives. And another week that has just passed was quite important in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. It was a health week, usually around the middle of May. We celebrate health and we talk more about health, and it is called Seventh-day Adventist Health Week. I wanted to focus on health today because maybe this is not a story from my life exactly in terms of one beautiful story, but it is something I'm really passionate about. This is also my profession because I am a health and well-being researcher. I wanted to share a little bit of what I know, because the whole idea for me to study for so long, it was exactly for that reason, to communicate science, to communicate the health information to people so that it doesn't stay just in wordy journals, but that people understand. And I don't know if we're ready with the slides, but I wanted to focus on lifestyle medicine today, and here is the precious clicker. So the goal of today's presentation is to support you in adopting better or healthier behaviors. I just want to suggest what I know and put it out there and support you in your decisions, perhaps. Broadly speaking, if your health is not working well, or if your body is not functioning really well, your quality of life is really compromised. It's really difficult to smile when something hurts. It's very difficult to enjoy sunshine and wake up in the morning and say, yay, I'm alive, when your back hurts, when your head hurts, when you know there is some sort of underlying health issue. Isn't that right? You've experienced it? I have experienced it. I'm pretty sure you have, even if it was just a headache. So this is the whole idea for combining health ministry or health message with spirituality or faith. God wants us to function really well. God wishes that we were full of energy so that we can do what Paul is encouraging in the letter of Romans in the New Testament, because he says, go talk to people about the fact that I am there loving you and I want to save your life. Go talk about your experiences. If you are in pain and if you are not happy, it's a lot more difficult. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's a lot more difficult to be fully engaged in life. So what can we do today? The clicker. He didn't tell me how to use it, but I'll try my best. No, have I turned everything off? Let's try this way. So yes, wonderful food, wonderful vegetables and wonderful fruit you can see in this first slide. I wanted to start with this quick information about the fact that in the past, medical professionals, health professionals, used to battle communicable diseases. So diseases that were transferred from person to person, and it was really difficult to save lives. But these days, medicine is so advanced, communicable diseases are not a problem. What actually is a problem is non-communicable diseases. And they are called lifestyle-related diseases. So I would say pandemics like COVID-19 aside, those non-communicable diseases have been a crisis now for several decades. And this big number I have put on the slide, 74%, what do you think it stands for? If you can read the small print, you don't have to guess. 74% of all deaths worldwide are caused by lifestyle-related diseases. It does look like a big number if you have no idea about maths or statistics. And yes, it is a serious problem. And when we say it's caused by lifestyle-related diseases, what do we mean by this? Well, that means people who maybe neglected physical activity and moving. Maybe people neglected their health by smoking or using other not the healthiest or best substances like drugs, alcohol. And it may also mean really compromised diet. So today, in other words, in hospitals, the doctors will look after a lot of patients who have diseases like diabetes or heart diseases that are preventable. So they could have been prevented. It didn't have to happen for most of them, not all of them. And for the past century, Seventh-day Adventist Church really has been emphasizing the idea of healthier living, and we just really wanted to give it to people and highlight that there are ways to take care of your body. And God speaks about it a little bit in the Bible, absolutely. So in the church, we have this sort of legacy of talking about plant food diet, for example. It doesn't mean that you have to just eat plants, but to focus on getting those foods in your body. And what does science say these days? These days the science says, oh, well, actually, the inflammation markers are going really low. And inflammation markers, that means there is lower risk for disease or cancer. They are going really low when people, for example, have this gentle, lovely habit of eating a lot of broccoli. Who would have thought? And we have evidence base. That means researchers have done studies and studies and studies, and the results are quite consistent. They show that there is something in it, and it is changing people's lives. Well, God did say that in the book of Daniel, for example. If you are interested, read about it. So we talk about longevity, we talk about translating this knowledge into programs, and in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, we have a framework called not SMART, sorry, that's a different one, New Start, and we also have a program called CHIP, not cheap, but CHIP, Comprehensive Health Improvement Program. So we translate that knowledge into interventions and take it to the community and show people, hey, if we check your blood at the beginning of the program and 30 days later at the end of the month, when we check it again and you are with us, and you do a little bit more moving during that month, and you try to add more fiber, meaning more veggies, more fruit in that month, let's see if anything changes in your blood. And guess what? I've seen it again and again because I ran those community-based programs. The results change. The results change quite significantly, actually, and it takes 30 days. So the principles that we have been advocating as church are sort of encapsulated in this acronym. So N stands for nutrition, E for exercise, W for water. That means look after yourself and think what you choose before you put it in your mouth. Exercise, of course, means movement, and it doesn't matter if it's just your natural moving during the day because you work in the garden or you walk to the shop or is a gym or something like that. Water obviously means drinking enough water. Funnily enough, it's one of the simplest things that could be changed in our everyday routines. Really simple, but could bring incredible outcomes for your health. Sunshine, being out there. We are a little bit more cautious with sunlight here in Australia. The sun is super strong, but we do use sun blockers and we protect ourselves with clothing. But being out there and being exposed to sun, it's not new knowledge. We know that it helps us produce vitamin D, for example. Temperance is staying away from things that are there. And that's an interesting one. I want to stop here for a moment because we live in so-called civilized world. And that civilized world means we have convenience. That means you can go to the shop and choose whatever is there. And there is a lot. I grew up in Poland, and it was the times when Poland was under authoritarian communist government. I remember times when walking into the shop simply meant there was nothing, maybe just bottles of vinegar. I remember staying in a long queue with my grandmother and thinking, when we get finally inside the store, will there be anything left? Because usually the line was, hey, there's something in the shop, and people would just run, line up, and wonder, maybe cheese. Maybe meat, maybe something else. And then very often when you get in there, there's nothing left. So there wasn't much choice. Today there is a lot of choice, and it's the other end of the spectrum. When you go to a supermarket, you can choose a lot of sugary stuff. You can choose a lot of packaged, processed, and over-processed food. And when I speak to my children, I tell them, this is not food. Do not be a sheep. My children really know that phrase very well. I also tell them, don't be a minion. Do not follow the crowd. Do not buy it because it's there. Think before you buy it and eat it. The food that's processed, it's exactly that. It's a processed product. It hasn't been created for you by your mom or your grandma or someone who cooks in the family with love, thinking about, oh, I want to feed you, I want to give you the best. It was created by a company who wants to make money, who wants to have profit. I think your health, it's safe to say, it's the last on their list that they are really interested in. So temperance means staying away from the things that are there, including nicotine, including alcohol and drugs, staying away to take care of your body. Air is similar to sunshine, breathing, rest, and the last letter, T, stands for trust. Trust in God, faith. There is no denying that spirituality is one big and important area of holistic life and healthy living, and definitely part of human experience. And if we think about food again, even the government looked at the food pyramid. Has anyone heard about the food pyramid? I think it is a popular concept. We at least heard something about it. The food pyramid is no longer the standard or gold standard of looking at how to feed a human body. It was created in 1980s, more or less, and we no longer look at food the same way. If you look at the bottom of the triangle, the bread, cereals, potatoes, and carbohydrates, in other words, were the biggest group, and then fruit and vegetables. These days, the concept has changed so much that we have a completely different shape. It's a shape of a plate, it's a circle. And half of this plate, this is fruit and vegetables. Why? Why did the science change? Well, it's not so much that the science changed, but we have just got a lot more data showing that fiber is one of the most crucial ingredients that you can add to, well, feed your body with, let's put it this way. So there is proteins, all sorts of proteins, including nuts, eggs, yogurt, so dairy, fish, some meat, but not a lot of it, beans, of course, drink water at the side, and the little quadrant here at the right bottom is the grains, and usually the whole grains, not processed grains. So this is just to quickly show you that there is change, that everybody knows, including an average citizen and including the scientists, that what is the most important on your plate is on the left side of this plate. And cruciferous vegetables is what I want to focus on for a very good reason. As I mentioned before, we notice that some people who eat more of those plant-based diets, they seem to stay healthier, they seem to have longer lives. We have blue zones observations. It's not really strict scientific study, but very valuable observations. And these people seem to just enjoy life more because they are not so sick. I've looked at cruciferous studies because there is new emerging research again and again and again. As a researcher, I don't want to bore you with this complicated stuff, but I specialize in Cochrane reviews, and it's a method in science where you put together studies and data from a lot of studies, and you analyze the data and come up with that cumulative result. And this is something science goes by in medicine or any other health-related disciplines. So we look at the results for cruciferous veggies and we say, interesting, something is going on here. We have a 2023 Cochrane review, so a big piece of robust data, relatively robust. There are 8 trials, so studies, they were randomized controlled trials, if you have an idea what it is. So it's not compelling evidence, but it is evidence, and the trend is really, really showing very clearly that there are enzymes, and there is this compound called also SFN in cruciferous veggies, specifically in broccoli, that seems to work really great on cellular level. It changes some sort of biochemistry in your body. So people eat a lot of it, and it even changes the cancer situation, changes the cancer diagnosis, reverses autoimmune diseases. I know this is a very risky statement, but if you look at the 17 or 18 years of work done by Dr. Brooke Goldner, that's exactly what she's talking about, autoimmune diseases. And I say that because if you don't know, autoimmune diseases generally are considered hard to reverse or impossible to reverse, actually. So this is how powerful one simple broccoli, but eaten regularly and consistently, can be to you for your life. I want to use this example. There is no time to talk specifics or scientific, or to analyze the scientific data, but please trust me, when I say these enzymes are powerful, they really are. And when I say cruciferous vegetables, if you cannot read, it means broccoli, cauliflower, kale, cabbage, rocket, so the cabbage family. But broccoli specifically has been studied a little bit more than other vegetables, specifically for the SFN compound in them. So the pathway is very clear. In terms of biochemistry, there is absolutely no denying we understand that mechanism as scientists very well, and it's not a question mark. It's just we don't understand how it happens. What we do know also is that you cannot cook it because the hot temperature will kill the enzymes. So vegetables are amazing sources of powerful micro and macro ingredients and compounds and enzymes that are anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and can help you live a lot happier, healthier life for years to come. Another mention is omega-3 fatty acids. So our body cannot produce omega-3 or 6 or 9 fats, but we can supply our body with them. So what happens is that in previous years, let's say 20, 30, 40 years ago, before the Western, so-called Western diet became really accessible, the ratio between omega-3 and omega-6 was, say, 1:1, 1:4, because people ate this simple diet of food that really grew in your garden, generally speaking. I'm really generalizing. But today, when you look at the numbers, the ratio is 1:15 or 1:20, and I'm talking between omega-3, which is an anti-inflammatory fatty acid, and omega-6, which seems to produce more pro-inflammatory markers. So it's not really about getting rid of omega-6, it's about the balance. Where is omega-3 since I need it? Well, it's in fish, it's in walnuts, it's in chia seeds, flax seeds. Chia seeds have a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. And this repair of inflammation in your body, you can imagine, will bring amazing results. So combining that knowledge of New START acronym, where we talk about food, for example, cruciferous veggies, where we talk about water, where we talk about breathing and air and sunshine and moving and spirituality and trust in God. When we talk about omega-3 fatty acids, all of this can help. What kind of evidence we have? I've mentioned some studies already. There is also a study that I know about quite intimately, because that study was done at Deakin University. I worked there for a year or two, and it's called SMILE study. The person who is the key investigator on that study from Deakin University published results that can be misunderstood, but they are compelling. Even if you have depression, even if your depression clinically diagnosed is quite severe, Mediterranean-style diet can help. So this is how the results were published. This is how they are interpreted. When I look at the results, I have a lot of questions because I'll just talk about one problem there. We call it a limitation of the study. They recruited people who already had very poor diet at baseline. So when you have really bad diet and you have clinically diagnosed depression, and then for a month you are on a good, proper diet and nothing else changes in your life, apparently you can reverse depression according to this study. Again, the number of people included in the study was about 67 people, and they were compared to, so those who were on a diet were compared to those who just had a friend to talk to. So one group was talking to a dietitian, and they got some sort of guiding what to eat and how to eat and what to change. Another group was talking to a friend instead. So that group with a dietitian within a month had incredible results in terms of change in depressive symptoms. Okay, so what else do we know? We also know that there are so-called blue zones, and it's not, by any chance, don't think this is robust science, because it's not. These are observations. So Dwan Butner, who published this book, he's a journalist and really, really interested in healthy living and longevity. So he traveled around the world years ago, and he's realized that in Japan, Okinawa, in Italy, Sardinia, California, Loma Linda Seventh-day Adventists, and 2 other places. He started with the first 3, I think. People who follow more or less what we are talking about today. So more plants, a lot of social interactions and community and belonging to community, a lot of movement, exercise, whether it's planned and structured or just naturally there. He noticed that these people not only live until 100 years old and more, but they live happily. They are fully functional. They live normal lives when they are 103, for example, meaning they ride a bike, they swim, they walk and talk. They are not sick in hospital. I don't think I would exaggerate if I said we all want that. Regardless of how long you want to live or wish to live, but we don't want to be in hospital. We don't want to look at aging and say, oh yeah, that's part of aging. I'll probably have to go to the doctor. Taking tablets is normal. Getting sick when you are aging is normal. When something hurts you and you are getting older, it's normal. I am a big advocate for saying no, it's not normal. What is normal is living longer and living as a fully functioning adult. Elderly lady who can, with no problem, open a jar because the muscles are working, because you have balance and you don't have to trip and fall, and then your health could just go down. So the last slide talks about trust, and I just want it back on the screen. Hello? Yes. I will give thanks and praise to you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, and my soul knows it very well. I love this part of the psalm. I love how David is just praising God for what a great body we have. So today, as I said, the goal of this live talk was to support you in adopting those healthier behaviors. If you forget anything, remember the acronym is New Start, and you can test your memory, which letter stands for what. But don't forget about the last letter, the letter T. I listened to Dr. Andrew Huberman, who is a very popular podcaster, but he's also a scientist. And recently I heard something that usually it's difficult or hard, uncommon to hear amongst scientists. He was talking about trust in God. He was talking about his addiction to alcohol and how difficult it was for him to give up alcohol. And he was talking about a regular prayer for life and how important it is to give it to some higher power, ask for leadership, and rely on God for His strength, for His power, to know that this is not just you and it is not only done in your human power, but with God, that He will bless when you plan to change even 1%. The successful way of looking at it, if you want to say, oh yeah, Justina is right, I should adopt some new healthier behaviors, start with very small changes. Don't say to yourself, okay, I'm just going to eat plants, fruits, veggies, and I'll get rid of everything else. It will be very difficult, almost impossible, if your eating habit has been different for many years. The best way is to say, I'll eat more broccoli every day. I'll eat more raw vegetables. Maybe you'd never eat salads. Just say, well, where is the humble carrot? I will have carrots every day, apples every day. Something simple. If you don't move and you think you really need that circulation improved in your body, 1%. Maybe start with 10 minutes walks every day if you say you don't have time. So this way, when your body is energetic, when you're happy, when you can serve God, because serving God means serving other people, I'll give thanks and praise to you. You will be happily referencing this psalm. So nutrition feeds the body, movement strengthens it, rest restores it, but trust in God holds everything together. Thank you for listening. I was hoping I would give this job to Colin, but he says, not my name on the slide. All right. We had a reflection. We had a lot of information in a short period of time, and now let's meditate on this in our prayer. Dear Lord, dear Father, our Creator, I come to you with this prayer in this time to ask for your wisdom, for your help, and for your power. Because as humans, we've developed habits that sometimes we really want to get rid of. They are not helping us. Lord, you've promised that you will be with us in the dark, when we struggle, when we're joyful. I believe your promises. I know you just wait to help us. So we come to you with this humble request. Please heal us spiritually. Please touch us so that we know what to do for the best, so that we are healthy and we can serve you and we can serve people around us. Amen.